Hello everyone. Today we are going to see group theory part 1. In this video we are going to learn the definition of group and properties. Now groups. These groups are very important tools in the development of abstract algebra. What do you mean by abstract algebra? Abstract algebra is nothing but it is the study of structures such as rings, fields, vector space, inner product space, modules, algebras, etc. etc. Now, in the development of all these structures, these groups will play an important role. Now, before going to the definition of groups, let us recall some of the definitions or some of the notations I can say from our high school mathematics. Now, what do you mean by set? In high school, we have learned set means a collection of well-defined things. What do you mean by set? Set is nothing but a collection of well-defined things or a collection of things which satisfy certain property, you can say that. Okay. Now, after learning the definition of set, let us recall the number system. Now, real numbers. Real numbers are again divided into irrational numbers and rational numbers. And in this, you are having the notation n will represent the set of all natural numbers, and w will represent the set of whole numbers, and z will represent the set of integers, positive and negative. Q will represent the set of rational numbers. I will represent the set of irrational numbers. Real numbers are represented by capital R. Is it or not? Real numbers are represented by capital R. These are the notations we used in our high school. What is n? N is the set of natural numbers. It will start with 1, 2, 3, etc. up to infinity. Whole numbers. If you add 0 for natural numbers, it will be the set of whole numbers. Now for the whole numbers, if you add negative of the natural numbers, it will become set of integers. Next, rational number. What do you mean by rational number? Rational number is of the form p by q, where q is not equal to 0, p and q are integers. Like this you will write the rational number. Next, irrational number. Irrational number means not terminating decimal without any no pattern. Okay, that is pi, e, root 2 and so on. They are the irrational numbers. Real numbers. All these together constitute the real numbers. Okay. Now, these are the things you have to remember before going to the definition of a group. Now, after this, we will see the binary operator. What do you mean by binary operator? In arithmetic, you are having 4 fundamental operators. What are they? Plus, multiplication, division, subtraction. These are the 4 fundamental operators we are having in arithmetic. Now, using these 4 fundamental operators, we will define binary operator. Okay, what do you mean by binary operator? An operator which can be operated between 2 elements of the set, and the resulting element should also belong to the same set. Now, is it clear? What is it? It is an operator which can be operated between the 2 elements of the given set. The set, it is a non-empty set, and after operating, the result should also belong to the set. Then it is said to be binary operator. For example, if you take n, n is what we are denoting n by the natural numbers are denoted by n. So, n is 1, 2, 3 and so on. This is n. Now, if you add, suppose if you take n plus, that is the operator is plus. Here you have taken the operator as plus. If you add 1 plus 2, you will get 3. 3 plus 2, 5 or 100 plus 1, then 100, not 1. Like that. If you add 2 natural numbers, again you are getting a natural number. Therefore, n plus Plus C is a binary operator on the set of natural numbers. Now is it clear? Binary operator means it is an operator which is operated among the elements of the given set and the result should belong to the same set. Then you will say that that operator is a binary operator. Okay. Now this binary operator can also be represented by a mapping. Now see how it is. It is now binary operation. Let S be a non-empty set. Suppose S is a non-empty set. If you take two elements from S, that is S by S, F of A comma B you can take. You can apply the between the two elements of S, you can apply the operator and the result will also be in yes, is it? Then you will say that that mapping is called binary operation on S. When will you say that any operation is binary operation on S? If F is a mapping from S by S to S, then F is called binary operation on S. Okay, next, addition, multiplication, subtraction are binary operations in R. Multiplication of, suppose R is a set. R is a set means set of real numbers. R will denote the set of real numbers. Or the set of real numbers are denoted by R. Suppose if you take this one R, and now suppose what is R? Minus infinity to infinity you will have. Now product sum of two real numbers is again a real number. So multiplication of two real numbers is again a real number. Subtraction of two real numbers is also a real number. But coming to division, suppose you are having 0. Is it? 1 by 0. It is not defined. So it is not defined. So it is division is not a binary operation on R. Okay. Now is it clear? Binary operation or binary operator. Now see the next one. Addition and multiplication on sets N, Z, Q, C are also binary operators. What is addition is ordinary addition and multiplication is dot. Addition is binary operation on N, Z, Q, C. What is N? N is set of natural numbers. It will start with 1 and it goes on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so on. Z means set of integers, positive, negative and 0. Minus etc. minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. See, see this here. Now see here. This is set of natural numbers. This is set of integers. Minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2 so on are the set of integers. Set of natural numbers 1, 2, 3. Plus and dot both are binary operations on this set and on this set also they are the binary operations. Now see, Q means set of rational numbers there also. C, what is C? C is the set of all complex numbers. What are the form of complex numbers? C is equal to the set of all A plus IB where A comma B belongs to R. This is the set of complex numbers. This on this also addition and multiplication are binary operators. Okay. Now after this you are able to see binary operation. Now see an algebraic structure. What do you mean by algebraic structure? Algebraic structure is nothing but it is a non-empty set. What do you mean by set? Set means a collection of well-defined things or well-defined objects. A non-empty set G, you have to consider a set G which is non-empty. If it is equipped with one or more binary operators or operations, G should be equipped with plus if you say, then it is plus should be a binary operator on G. That means if you take A comma B belongs to G, A comma B belongs to G, A plus B should also belongs to G. Then only plus is said to be binary operator on G. Suppose a non-empty set G is equipped with an operator plus, then it is said to be an algebraic structure. Not only with one operator, more operators also you can say that. G plus dot if I write, then it is also an algebraic structure. You will see in your next year, before completing the graduation course, you will see the algebraic structures with the two operators such as ring, field, vector space, etc. Okay. Now this is algebraic structure. What do you mean by an algebraic structure? Algebraic structure is nothing but a non-empty set which is equipped with one or more binary operators. What is a binary operator? Binary operator is nothing but an operator which can be operated among the elements of G, two elements of a set, then the result will also be in that. Then it is said to be algebraic structure. After that, we are going to see groupoid. What do you mean by a groupoid? A set in which the closure property satisfies with respect to defined binary operator is called groupoid. Suppose if you take n. N is a set of natural numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. This is the set of natural numbers. Now if you take an operator plus on n, you are saying n is equipped with addition operator. Now n plus if you take, n plus is a binary operator. Now see here, if you operate this plus between any two elements of this, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 3 plus 4 equal to 7. Now 3, 7 are the elements of n again. That means if you operate the operator, given operator, between the two elements of the given set, the result is belonging to the set, then you will say that that operator satisfies the closure property. Every binary operator satisfies closure property. Binary operator is also the same thing. So, a set in which closure property satisfies with respect to the defined binary operator. Plus is the binary operator. Binary operator itself means, we can say that binary operator itself satisfies the closure property. We define binary operator in such a way that a plus a, b are the two elements of the set, a plus b will also be the element of the set, is it? So that is the thing. Okay. Now this is the n is the set of all natural numbers. It is closed with respect to addition. N plus is a groupoid. Similarly, Z plus is a groupoid. Q plus is a groupoid. R plus is a groupoid. C plus is a groupoid. What is Z? Z is set of integers. It will satisfy closure property with respect to addition. What do you mean by closure property? If the given operator is operated between the two elements, the result will also belong to the same set. Then you will say that it is the closure property. Now in N, Z, Q, R, N is set of natural numbers, Z is set of integers, Q is set of rational numbers, R is set of real numbers, C is set of complex numbers. These are all satisfy closure property with respect to addition. Not only with respect to addition, with respect to multiplication also they will satisfy the closure property. Therefore, they are all the examples of groupoids. What do you mean by groupoid? Groupoid is nothing but a non-empty set which is equipped with a binary operator and satisfying closure property is said to be a groupoid. Okay. Now see. After that, groupoid, semi-group. What do you mean by a semi-group? A semi-group is nothing but a groupoid with an associative binary operation is called semi-group. Is it? What do you mean by associative binary operation? Suppose G is a non-empty set. It is a non-empty set. When will you say that G is a groupoid? If it is equipped with binary operator, then you will say that it is a groupoid. Binary operator means the operator should be operated between the two elements of the set and the result belongs to the set. Then you will say that it is a groupoid. Or you will say that if G satisfies closure property with respect to addition, then it is a groupoid with respect to the defined operator. Now you are taking such groupoid, and if this groupoid satisfies associative property, then you will say that it is a semigroup. What do you mean by associative? Now you said plus C is a binary operator. Suppose A, B, suppose A comma B comma C belongs to G plus. You have taken a group G, that a set G, that set is equipped with addition. You have taken three elements from the set A, B, C. Now, if you take plus, it is a binary operator. That means you have to operate it between two elements A and B, A plus B. This should belongs to G. Then only this is a binary operator. Okay. Now, instead of two elements, suppose you want to see A plus B plus C. Now, addition of three elements you have to see. Then, you have to group either A plus B first or B plus C first. Is it? Now, if you add A plus B, it will be some element of G. Suppose it is D. Then D plus C. Again, it is a binary operator. It belongs to G. Okay. After that, add B plus C. Let it be E. And A plus E. You will add. Is it? Now, if D plus C is equal to A plus E, then you will say that associative property satisfies. That is, first you are adding A plus B in the first case, then you are adding C. In the second case, first you are adding B plus C and then you are adding A. In both the cases, if these two are equal, the values are equal, then you will say that associative property satisfies. Suppose if you take set of natural numbers, n if you take. Now plus is the binary operator on n. Now suppose if you take 3 plus 4 plus 5. Now add 3 plus 4 first, then it is 7 plus 5, it is equal to 12, is it? Next, if you add 3 plus, first you will add 4 plus 5, it is equal to 3 plus 9, it is equal to 12, is it? In both the cases, the value is becoming the same. Therefore, you will say that associative property satisfies in G. Okay. Therefore, G is a semigroup. What do you mean by a semigroup? A groupoid in which associative property satisfies is said to be semigroup. Is it? The examples of semigroup are set of natural numbers, set of integers, set of rational numbers, set of real numbers, set of complex numbers. These are all the examples of semigroup. After the semigroup, monoid. What do you mean by monoid? A semigroup with the identity element is called monoid. A semigroup with the identity element is called monoid. What is this? Identity element. Suppose G is a set, it is equipped with a binary operator plus, then if you take any element A belongs to G, if there exists some E belongs to G such that A plus E is equal to E plus A is equal to A, then you will say that E is the identity of the element. Suppose a semigroup is having the identity, then you will say that it is a monoid. For example, if you take Z, Z is what? Set of integers. You will write this as -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. This is the set of integers, is it? Now, suppose if you take 0 and add to any element, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1. This property is satisfied. And similarly, 0 plus minus 3 is equal to minus 3. Minus 3 plus 0 is equal to minus 3. So, if you add 0 to any set, then these are all integers, that is 0 is the identity of z. Therefore, z is a set of integers, is a monoid. Now suppose if you take n, set of natural numbers, that is 1, 2, 3 and so on. So is there an existence of identity, additive identity? There is no additive identity because 0 is not there. Therefore, n is not a monoid with respect to addition. Is it clear? Now suppose instead of plus, if you take g dot also you can take. Now here 1 is there. If you multiply any element with 1, you will get the same thing. So with respect to multiplication, 1 is the identity. With respect to addition, 0 is the identity. Therefore, the set of integers, set of rational numbers, set of real numbers, set of complex numbers. These are all monoids with respect to addition and multiplication. Okay. Now see the next one. After monoid, we will see the final definition of group. Now this group, you can say that in a monoid, if every element is possessing its inverse, then you will say that that is a group. It is one type of definition. Now what is the inverse? Now traditionally we will define group as if G is a non-empty set and star is a binary operator. See here, what is a star? Star means, till now I told you G plus is a group, G dot is a group. G plus is an algebraic structure, G dot is an algebraic structure, and G minus you can take G division. These are the fundamental operators. Not only this, you can define any operator. Suppose I take star, A star B can be defined as A plus B minus AB. Like this also you can define. This is star you can take. This is also an operator. Star means any operator, either it may be one of the fundamental operators or the operator defined in terms of the fundamental operators. Now star is such a type of operator. Star is a binary operator defined on G such that the following axioms are satisfied. G star is a group. That means G star, when will you say that G star is a group? If star is a binary operator. Binary operator means itself is a closure satisfied, closure property satisfies. Since the closure property satisfies, it will be a groupoid. Next, for every A, B, C belongs to G, A star, B star, C should be equal to A star, B star, C. That is, associativity should satisfy. First, closure should satisfy. Second, associativity should satisfy. Any structure which is satisfying closure and associativity is said to be semi-group. Is it? Next, inverse. A belongs to G, B belongs to G. A star B is equal to B star A is equal to E. Then B is called inverse. Before that inverse, identity. There exists E belongs to G such that A star E is equal to E star A, that is equal to A for every A belongs to G. That is, any semi-group with identity element is said to be monoid. Now, here in a monoid, if every element is having its inverse, then you will say that it is a group. Now, what is inverse? Suppose if A comma B belongs to G, A star B is equal to B star A is equal to E. What is E? E is the identity element of the A. Then you will say that B is inverse of A is inverse of B. Okay. Now this is the group definition. When will you say that group? If any algebraic structure or any non-empty set G equipped with a binary operator star, it is a binary operator star, means it satisfies closure property, it satisfies associative property, it satisfies identity property, there exists an identity element in the set and there exists inverse element for every element of the set, then G is said to be a group. Examples of group are Z plus is a group, Q plus is a group, R plus is a group, C plus is a group. Yes, this I told you. A semi group with identity and in which every element is invertible is called a group. Okay, now you are able to know the group. What do we mean by group? Group is nothing but a non-empty set equipped with a binary operator in which closure property satisfies, associativity should satisfy, there exists identity element and there should exist for every element of G, inverse should exist. Then if these four properties are satisfied, G is said to be a group. Okay. Now if in a group for every A comma B belongs to group A star B is equal to B star A, then we will say that that group is said to be commutative group. This property is called as commutative property. Okay, this is the definition of group. Z plus, Q plus, R plus, C plus are the examples of the group. Okay, now you have learned the definition of a group. When will you say that any non-empty set which is equipped with a binary operation is a group? If it satisfies closure property, associative property, there should exist an identity element in a group and every element of the group should possess an inverse element. Then you will say that that set is a group. Now if in this group along these four properties commutative property is also satisfying, then you will say that group is commutative group. What do you mean by commutative property? A star B is equal to B star A for every A comma B belongs to G. Okay, that is the commutative group. Now see finite and infinite group. If the set G contains a finite number of elements, if the set G contains a finite number of elements, then that group G is called finite group. Okay. Now the number, basing on the number of elements in the set, the group is said to be finite or infinite. If it contains finite number of group elements, it will be finite group. If it contains infinite number of elements, it is an infinite group. Now for example, set of natural numbers, set of integers. Set of integers is a group with respect to addition and with respect to multiplication also. Then you will say that it is a infinite group. Here this is G. Suppose this is said to be fourth roots of unity, the set of fourth roots of unity. How many elements are there? 1 minus 1, I minus I. 4 elements are there. That will be a group with respect to multiplication. We will see that how it is in composition table in the next videos. Now it is a group, therefore it is the number of elements in this group is 4. Therefore this is said to be a finite group. If you take Z plus is a infinite group. The number of elements are infinite. Okay. Now see, order of a group. The number of elements in the group is said to be order of a group and it is denoted by O of G or modulus of G. Like this you will write order of a group. Okay. G is infinite, then we say the order of G is infinite. Example, in the previous example you have taken 1 minus 1 I then order of G is equal to 4. Order of G, the elements in G is equal to 2n. Similarly, we say that the group is of odd order. OG is equal to 2n minus 1. The number of elements in the G is equal to 2n minus 1. Then we will say that it is of odd order. If it is equal to 2n, we will say that it is even order. Okay, now see elementary properties of groups. Now we will see the properties of groups. Till now what you have learned? You have learned the definition of groupoid, semi-group, monoid, group, abelian group, and whether it is a finite group or infinite group. When will you say any group is finite? If the number of elements in the group is finite, you will say that it is a finite group. The number of elements in the group is infinite, then you will say that it is infinite group. Now, you are going to see the properties of the group. The first one is the identity element in a group is unique. What you said, every group should possess an identity element. If it is having identity elements means it is unique, you have to say. Now in order to, in a group, identity element is unique. Now see how it is. Let G is a group. If it is not unique, let us assume there are two identity elements. Let E and E dash are the two identity elements in G. Now you want to say that it is unique means you have to prove that E is equal to E dash. Now suppose E is the identity element in G and E dash is any element in G. So E star E dash, G is a group with respect to star, take it. G is a group with respect to star you have taken. Now E and E dash both are the identity elements of G. Is it or not? You are assuming. Now what you are going to prove? E is equal to E dash you have to prove. In order to prove that E is equal to E dash, once take E as the identity element, E dash is any other element in G, then E star E dash is equal to E dash star E is equal to E dash. Is it? Now E dash is an element. Now we reverse the roles of E and E dash. That means now you are taking E dash is the identity element and E is any identity element in G and E belongs to G. Therefore, E star E is equal to E star E dash is equal to E. Now from 1 and 2, E is equal to E dash. This is the, for any group, how many identities will exist? There exists only one identity. Okay, now see the next problem. Uniqueness of inverse. Now any element must possess its inverse. That inverse is unique. Suppose A is belonging to the group G, A is having its inverse, that inverse is unique. Okay, the inverse of each element of a group is unique, or in a group G, inverse of any element is unique. Let G be a group and A belongs to G. Okay, E be the identity element in G. A is an element in G, E is the identity element in G. Suppose A is having two elements as its inverse, B and C. Now if you show that B is equal to C, your problem is over. Why? Because B is the inverse of A, C is the inverse of A, you are assuming that. Now you want to say that there exists only one inverse for A. In order to show that there exists only one inverse for A, you are supposing that there exist two inverses and you will show that they are equal. Okay. B is the inverse of A in G means A star B is equal to B star A is equal to E. Is it? By definition. Similarly, C is the inverse of A in G means A star C is equal to C star A is equal to E. Is it? Now, in order to show that B is equal to C, consider B, write it as B star E, but E is equal to A star C from here. E is equal to A star C. B star, A star, C. Now B, A, C are the elements in G. G is a group. So associativity satisfies. This will be equal to B star, A star, C. But what is B star A? It is equal to E. So this is E star C, that is equal to C. So where you have started with B, you have started, and you are able to say that is equal to C. But what you have assumed, B and C are the two inverses of A. But what you got, B is equal to C. Therefore, you can say that each element of a group is unique. Okay. Next, see let G be a group, then AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse for every A comma B belongs to G. The inverse of the product of two elements of a group G is the inverse taken in the reverse order. Now see here. Since G is a group, E is an identity element in G. Now you have to prove AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse. For that, consider AB into B inverse A inverse. That means if you are able to show that this is equal to E, identity element of G, then AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse. Okay. Now this you can write A into B inverse into A inverse. Is it or not? But B inverse is equal to E. So AE A inverse. But AE is A. So this is A inverse. This is equal to E. Is it? AB into B inverse A inverse is becoming equal to E. Similarly, consider B inverse A inverse into AB. Product this is. So this you can write B inverse A, B. What is A inverse A? E. So B inverse EB. What is B inverse E? This is B inverse. B inverse B is equal to E. That only we have written here. Okay. Now from these two, what can you say that AB into B inverse A inverse is equal to B inverse A inverse into AB is equal to E, which implies AB whole inverse is equal to B inverse into A inverse for every AB belongs to G. Similarly, you can extend to this any number. ABC whole inverse is equal to C inverse into B inverse into A inverse. Now is it okay? Thank you.